Blog Talk Radio.
Where's my intro music? Hold on. Well, actually, we're now live. My intro music ain't playing. Oh, well. I guess that's the way it goes.
Oh, man.
You're entering the Squatch Zone Radio.
It does not sound good at all.
I'm your host, Daniel Benoit, and your co-host, Shaky Jr., Donna Hamrick. Representing the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. We're here to share the truth. We're here to speak our open mind. You got a question for us? Please call the guest line.
602
prepare
753
for a mind-blowing radio show with Squatch Zone Radio.
All right, I'm going to end that. That sounded terrible. When I played it through the computer, it sounded clear. I don't know why it sounds like junk like that. But anyway, I'm glad we could all be here again tonight. Everyone disregard the startup music. I had to cut that out. That was terrible. Tonight, everybody, we're going to just get into some discussion. I got a few questions to ask those who are attending here. And today we have a special guest with us. He's been a guest on the ECBRO YouTube channel, ECBRO 98. And we have your very own Michael Cook today, coming all the way from Kentucky. He is the founder of the Kentucky Sasquatch team. And I know if I said that wrong, he's going to correct me here once I pull him in here. All right, and we're going to learn what's new, get some updates from Michael Cook. And meanwhile, I don't know, we're going to talk with Shaky Jr. Shaky Jr. has got a new episode with him and Layla Pelt. Right now they just posted their second episode. We're going to get some information about that here very shortly, too. And right now, we're going to get Michael Cook. Michael Cook, you're now live. You're on the Squatch Zone Radio. What's up, Michael?
Hey, guys. How's it going? I'm down here in the area where I had my first sighting 16-odd years ago in Harlan County, Kentucky, this weekend, visiting family and doing a little squatching. So, yeah, it's exciting. I'm actually sitting in the middle of the woods, well, where my folks' house is. It's right nestled in the middle of the woods, and it's a very, very squatchy area. So,
wow. That is awesome. Now, well, what have you been up to recently? You've been out recently, and what kind of findings have you come across recently?
About 3 weeks ago, we went to scout a location for a TV show that was coming here, and while we were riding around, me and a friend of mine, she's also an avid researcher and squatch enthusiast. She spotted a sketchy little hunting cabin, and so we drove over to it and got out and walked a little distance to it and everything. And upon arrival, we found the first thing that popped out was these two large tree breaks. And when I say tree breaks, I don't mean little saplings as round as your arm that one of us can break. I'm talking about large poplar trees. That was not snow break. These were live trees when they were broken. The leaves were still green on them. It was very recent. There was no sign of any kind of human interference with it. No machines, no logging or anything like that around the area. And we jumped up a couple of turkeys, and I wanted to get a great picture of one of these turkeys. So I kind of dipped up over the hill and was sneaking up on them, and they spotted me. When they flew off over on my left hand, off my left hand shoulder, something just crashed through the underbrush, and whatever it was pissed off. And she looked at me, and I looked back at her, and she said, "What in the hell was this?" And I said, at first I'm kind of like, well, it could have been a bear.
Right.
It could have been, not trying to freak her out or anything. And honestly, you gotta think logically, guys. I mean,
right.
What are the chances? We're out scouting squatching locations for a TV show, and we jump up a Bigfoot. I mean, I would love to say yes, but it gets crazier. On the way out, we passed two dirt bikers, and we didn't stop and talk to them. We waved, and they went on. They didn't know who we were, and we didn't know who they were. We made a video about the tree breaks, and I talked a little bit about whatever it was that went storming off. Around 2:00 in the morning that night, I received an email from a man who was riding a dirt bike, and coincidentally, it was one of the guys that we passed, and they estimated 6 foot, couldn't give me a weight or anything. They said it was very broad across the shoulders, going up a hill pretty steep into the wood line. Very, very dark brown, almost black creature on 2 legs, not a quarter mile from where we heard the crashing and banging through the underbrush. So once I let her in on this, she was all excited, and she was like, "I think we had a squatch encounter," and I'm in agreement. I think we did too. I think this thing was probably stalking these turkeys, probably looking for a dinner, and we ruined its dinner that evening.
Wow. Now, yeah, you had a pretty good description of it then. I mean, as far as a good visual.
I didn't see it. No, I never did see it. I heard it. The guys on the dirt bikes, both of them gave me the same description. I've talked to both of them on the phone, and when they come around the curve, they saw it going up on the hill, and they both stopped their bikes and, did you see that? And, both of them were in agreement. They got the hell out of there. And both of them said, we got online and typed in Kentucky and Sasquatch, and your team popped up, and you're the first one we found and contacted you. And I said, well, it's coincidental because I was driving the red Dodge that passed you all going out. And they remembered it. We waved at each other and everything. They didn't know who I even was, what we were even doing back in.
Yeah, that's funny because, sometimes where I go, one of my main research areas, I camp out there all the time. And then, I get dirt bikers that come through there, but I get into conversations with some people, and I can't say I've had people out there share stuff with me, but, I have actually carefully presented myself to them as far as, but prior to asking questions, like as far as how often do you come out this way, and, have you ever, you experienced any other, wildlife out here, or then I'll ask another odd question, like, have you ever experienced any unfamiliar, occurrences, or hear anything weird out here, and I'll get into the conversation, see if they'll be willing to, if they have experienced anything. I try to get them to come out and share their information with me, because, I do believe there's more people out there that maybe have experienced something, and just some people are, like your dirt bike riders, I'm surprised they were willing to locate or, find somebody to actually share that with them, because a lot of people, they're very not skeptic, but they're very hesitant, out of fear of ridicule or mockery, so that's pretty cool that they share that with you. So, but now again, when you heard that, I guess you could say that your distraction or disruption in the woods there, like you quoted to the person that was with you that it could have been a bear. actually picked up some weird things before, and can't say it was a bear or what, because I never seen them, but there are things that's happened out there, you know. So, but,
well, you know, I didn't want to freak her out any, and you know, but after the fact, you know, I called her and told her, you know, we had a Class A visual sighting that evening by 2 dirt bikers, and it's filed, it's reported, and they're both adamant in what they saw, and they're believable. And it was coincidental that we heard what sounded like a large creature going through the underbrush, and then a half mile away, you know, 35 minutes later, 2 dirt bikers see a bipedal creature walking into the wood line up a hill.
Wow.
And I even asked them, I said, you know, did it look pissed off? And they kind of, you know, questioned it, like, what do you mean pissed off? And I said, well, I mean, if it didn't look like it was pissed off because I ruined its dinner, you know, I'm glad. You know, maybe it went and found something else to eat. But this particular area, though, I mean, in Harlan County, this is where it all started for me. You know, and not 10 miles the way the crow flies away from where I'm sitting right now is where I had my first encounter. And since then, my dad, who is a believer, but he's more of a, you know, he's a seer is a believer kind of guy, but he called me one night and he said, I heard something behind the house, and it didn't sound like anything I've ever heard. It wasn't a screech out. It sounded like a growling scream. And when he said that, I automatically went to, you know, was it guttural? You know, and he was like, yeah. I said, was it like vocalizing? Like, could you hear it, like the sounds differentiating coming out of its whatever it was? And he said, yeah. I mean, it was making loud whoops, and then it would like scream and growl at the same time. And I was like, you know, hey, that sounds squatchy.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. When they vocalize, like when you're that close to them and they start growling or vocalizing like the way you just described, what do you believe that's what they're doing? Like more or less intimidating you to get lost?
Well, I have 2 theories on that, Daniel. I mean, and I think a lot of researchers will agree with me on this, and especially the more experienced ones that's been doing this for, you know, 40, 50 years. I think in one sense, yeah, it could be an intimidating way of trying to get us away from them, or it could be a warning to the others around the area. Hey, we got humans here. You know, whatever they're saying, while they're screaming back and forth, we've got humans here. You all need to get lost, you know, go find a place to hide because they're going to see you. Much like crows. A crow will do the same thing. A crow will send out a warning call to all the other crows. Hey, we got a predator in the midst. And, you know, and gorillas. Gorillas have been known in the wild and even in captivity to vocalize to other gorillas to warn them on what's going on. And the ones in captivity, I mean, it's not the ones that were born in captivity, of course. It's the ones that they went out and captured and, you know, paraded in front of everybody. But I think it's a combination of both. In one sense, yeah, it could be, you know, hey, get the hell away from me. And in another sense, it could be, hey, everybody else, you all need to get away from. I'm going to distract this human, and you all get the hell out of here. You know.
Right. Well, that's like I recall back in 2013, the location where me and Fred Canny we were camping at. I think it was the second night we were there. Right at camp, but it was between 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night. We were sitting around the campfire just talking nonchalant. And from out of nowhere, we had about 4 or 5 whoops, and they were like literally right there behind our camp. I mean, very close to us. And I got excited, but the down point, the disappointment part of that was we didn't have audio going at the time. We had audio, but the recorder was not recording, which was like a bummer, you know. Yeah, it was very exciting. But that's the thought I had, you know, later on I had gotten to thinking, maybe they're either, hey, letting us know that they're there, or possibly, like you mentioned, maybe alerting the others if there was any others nearby, you know. Now, in that same location, about 2.5, 3 months ago, that very same location, me and my daughter camped there together. And, yeah, what blew my mind was, you know, we've heard stuff in the distance, but nothing to get excited about. But there was the one night we were there, I actually had, you know, we were sitting there, it was probably about 10, I think it was about 10 o'clock or so, after, maybe a little later. And I was doing I had my camera going. I was actually making a note about something, talking about a couple things. And then right there at camp in the wood line, and right to the left of where I was standing, and you could hear it on the camera. The audio through my camera actually picked it up. But there was a tree knock, a distinct wood-on-wood knock right there. And I got excited. I said, man, we're being watched possibly, you know. So that was exciting. But that happened, same location where me and Frank camped at 3 years ago. So I thought that was pretty exciting. Maybe that's the areas.
I talk to coon.
I'm sorry?
I talk to coon hunters all the time around here, and these guys that you know, it's a big sport around this area as it is in your area. Also, coon hunting is almost it's a lifestyle around here. I mean, it's a way of life, and for most people. And I keep in contact with a lot of my friends and stuff because they have had certain things happen to them. A couple of them have had actual visual sightings, and you know, I remember years ago I was coon hunting with an uncle of mine, and the dogs would not leave. They the woods could have been full of the biggest raccoons you'd ever saw, and them dogs would not leave. And we all felt the presence of something there, something watching us. And one of them asked me, you know, going back to what you were saying about watching you. One of them asked me. They said, you know, well, you know, what's the probability of a squatch being in our area? And I think anytime you go in the woods around this area, which, you know, if you look at a map, Daniel, you and I, where I'm in Harlan County right now. I live in central Kentucky, though, in Lexington, but I'm in Harlan County now. If you look at a map, I mean, we're literally right across the mountain from each other. We're on the I mean, a straight line. We're across the mountains from each other. And I firmly believe that when you go in the woods, there's a squatch here. There's going to be one, two, whole family of them, whole herd of them. And they're going to be watching you. Now, whether or not they present themselves, make a mistake like that one did 16 years ago to me and fall down a hill into a river, or you get a small glimpse of one, you know, I believe they're always there. I mean, that's just how it is. And there's no real explanation for that besides the population in this area is very thick. It's very populated with the Bigfoot population. It's very populated here.
Yeah. Now, how far are you from Louisville in Fort Knox, Kentucky?
Louisville, where I live at in Lexington, I'm an hour and a half away from Louisville. I'm 2 hours away from Harlan County, where I live at. And there's not a whole lot that goes on in central Kentucky. I get just throwing a number out there, I get one sighting every 5 years in central Kentucky. In Charlie Raymond's area, out past Shelbyville, Kentucky, he does the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. Past Shelbyville, it's squatchy as hell. Past Berea, Kentucky, it's squatchy as hell. But right there in the bluegrass region of central Kentucky, it's one sighting every 5 years, maybe.
Right. Yeah, the reason I asked you about those locations, I might have mentioned it to you before when we had you on the podcast show, but I drove down through Louisville going to Fort Knox, Kentucky, over it's been about 16 years ago, a little over 16 years ago. me and my ex-wife, we were driving down to go see, her brother graduated from boot camp down there. And but I recall the ride very well, and the ride. I mean, even on 64, riding 64 out there through Louisville, and it was a well-wooded. I mean, always from what I can remember or recall, it was a lot of woods down there, a lot of heavy woods, thick woods. So I mean, I could see, Kentucky. It's I could see it being populated very well. I mean,
you see out in western Kentucky, in northwest Kentucky, Louisville, and all that up there. You got the Ohio River that runs down through there, and all the little tributaries and streams and creeks run through there, and it's a swampy kind of area. If you get out hiking and stuff, it's not like swampy in the bayou of Louisiana, but I mean it's kind of swampy in there, and a perfect area for an animal, apex predator like a Bigfoot to live. Whereas here in eastern Kentucky, in far southeast Kentucky, you've got the Appalachian Mountain Range that runs through here, and there's places in these mountains that's never been seen with the human eye. I mean, and never been stepped on with human feet. And there's caves and crevices and places for these creatures to just, live their lives uninterrupted by humans.
Right. Yeah, I believe that. I believe there's some areas like that up even through western parts of Virginia or in West Virginia alone, like, especially where Shaky lives. There's a lot of uncharted, territory that, there's people that we have yet to really explore that, a lot of our forests hold a lot of mystery, a lot of secrets.
Well, it's just like the eastern cougar. I mean, completely. I mean, and it's Bigfoot related. It really is. The eastern cougar, the mountain lions. If you talk to Fish and Wildlife, they'll say they don't exist here anymore. They went extinct years ago here. However, you could. They really are a cryptid animal around here because, Fish and Wildlife does not recognize them as a creature that lives here anymore. It's supposed to be extinct, but you get sightings all the time from them, from people. I've seen them. I've seen 4 or 5 of them in my life.
I read an article today where they have come out and said that they're there now.
Yeah, in Tennessee, the TVA actually had to come out and say they've had game cameras set up and caught these things on camera. They released they released 5 sets, which was 10 cougars in the Smoky Mountains a few years ago, because the same problem they had here, and when I say problem, that's exactly what I mean, with the elk herd they brung from the Rocky Mountains. The problem was, and I was one of the people that was against this, and I was actually quoted in the newspaper saying this. You have a large animal, a large deer like an elk, okay? Out in the Rocky Mountains, you have grizzly bears, wolves, you have cougars, mountain lions, pumas, whatever you want to call them. You have natural predators for them. Out here, the cougar population is just not enough. I mean, they're here.
Right.
But the damn things flourished. I mean, then they destroyed gardens and stuff. I mean, elk have really became a nuisance in eastern Kentucky because they do not have any natural predators besides what little cougar population we have and a Bigfoot. I bet the Bigfoot went back in, I think it was 2000 when they released the elk here. I bet the Bigfoot was, the Bigfoot population was sitting there sharpening their knives and forks, and they're like, hell yeah, we got some good meat coming in here now. Our cousins out in the Rockies have talked about these things all of our lives. We're going to get some elk meat in here. But they do the quota hunt every fall, and it's a lottery when they should just open season on them like deer. It's what's going to come to the elk population. I mean, I'm grateful for Bigfoot and stuff like that, but it's just flourished, and the cougars and everything. But they released them in the in the Smoky Mountains down in Gatlinburg, and you can get a little brochure and see times when you can see cougars in the Smoky Mountains in a particular area around Cates Cove, around Gatlinburg. It's early in the morning, but
yeah, we've got them up here in Virginia, and there's been, there's actually a website for those who get the report seeing them. I know just here in this county, Augusta County, and then the neighboring counties like Rockingham County, Nelson County, they've actually all been reported here. I personally, just this past year, and Fred Kennedy was with me, we've had a black one cross the road in my research area. And I've actually found tracks belonging to them. And, yeah, a lot of people, like you said, people don't believe they're here. Now, there was a report, which they believe it was a misidentification, or maybe the reporter is mistaken. But, there was a supposed mountain lion attack over here on the Blue Ridge Parkway. But after they updated it, saying it was a very large bobcat. But we do have mountain lions here. I think that maybe they are more populated in certain areas. But now, as far as to the elk, I haven't seen them, but I know we have them here in Virginia. Now, as far as my research area, I have seen very large deer droppings, which I can't associate with your normal average white-tailed deer. I have reason to believe that they were elk, because in years past, I've actually posted pictures of it. And elk hunters from out west actually said, yeah, those are elk. You got elk stat right there. There's pictures of them being hunted and documented down in southwest Virginia. Because from the little bit of research I did on their elk here in Virginia, they were actually released and this goes for the same. It's the same thing with the mountain lion. They were actually reintroduced here into Virginia many years ago. But then as far as the elk, yeah, back in the 60s they released elk, and then later on they actually released more, introduced more back in the 80s, early 80s. So I have reason to believe they may be up this way, where I'm located here in Virginia, but I don't think they're as populated as they are more in the southwest part of Virginia, closer to like Wise County, all the way down to the Tennessee border,
Well, Wise County, Lee County, it all is right here, and I mean Wise County and Lee County border Letcher County and Harlan County here in Kentucky, and only thing separating Wise and Lee from Harlan County is Big Black Mountain, which is a great research area for Bigfoot. Also, there's been several sightings up on Black Mountain, which is the highest peak in Kentucky. But with the elk population like it is, they when you have that kind of food source for mountain lions, Bigfoot, if an elk dies, a black bear will scavenge off of it. I don't think there's I don't think there's any documented case of a black bear taking down an elk. I know that there's documented cases of coyotes, which, I would literally, and you can quote me on this, I would literally get in the cage with a grizzly bear before I would tangle with a group of coyotes. I will not. I don't trust coyotes when I'm squatching or if I'm just out hunting or whatever. I get the hell out of there if I hear a pack of coyotes. I don't like them. They're dangerous, and they're a nuisance also. But
I agree. I had more dealings with black bear than anything. I mean, I feel more comfortable around black bear. I've been very close to them out in the woods during my explorations. Of course, most of the time they're usually headed in the opposite direction. But
that's what I can't figure out. This show, the TV show on History Channel alone, you have so
30
many
seconds left, guys.
We don't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only a 30-minute episode altogether. I'm limited to 30 minutes, but yeah. I was trying to. I didn't know if you guys heard the notice a little while ago. Maybe only I get to hear it. I don't know.
No, it didn't play on my end either.
Oh, okay. Well, stay tuned. We're going to be back next Friday night, same time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
We're actually up. Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. It just now went off air. I was trying to catch you earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you because I like what the discussion that was going into.
I didn't know. I thought we were going to go until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was raring to go.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Mike. All I can say is, man, it's good to talk to you without having to chat with you on Facebook.
Guys, let me tell you something. That Facebook is so fucking discouraging anymore. Everybody is hiding in this community, and I got get this shit. Since I got everyone of you all on here. I get accused of stealing Bigfoot pictures last night from a dude out in Indiana who sent me large photos of what he says was a juvenile Sasquatch, and I had to agree with him. It kind of looks like it, and I'll get you all, if I can find them on this new phone, I'll send them to you here in a little bit. But God Almighty, he wanted them back like 2 weeks ago, and when I got time, I finally put them in the mail. And this son of a bitch friggin' accuses me of, he sends me a text message last night. He's like, I know what you're doing. You might as well find a lawyer. And I'm like, you need to go to the post office, dumbass. And I looked at the tracking number. It's been at his post office for the last 4 days.
Oh, my.
Yeah,
wow.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm fucking done with it. I mean, I've got this book coming out, and I've got so much shit going on right now that I just really don't give a fuck if you think I'm a thief or whatever. I mean, Jesus friggin' Christ, guys.
You know the sad thing is, it's gotten so shitty. Man, I'm telling you right now, I can go down here behind my house and sit down and eat lunch with 3 fucking Bigfoot, and I'm not going to tell a person about it just because of how people act.
Oh, yeah. Because if you took video of your tea party with Bigfoot, you would have 100 motherfuckers on Facebook telling you that you're a hoaxer, that you ain't nothing but a liar, God. That you fabricated, that it's not real, that they're blob squatches, and the clearest picture of Bigfoot will always be a blob squatch. I don't care if it's a professional friggin' photographer. Somebody's going to come out and say, well, no, I can't really tell what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always thought about, this is one thing I've always thought about, and if I ever have the opportunity to get a picture, regardless of the quality of the photo, I mean, I might share it. I said, look, take it for what you want it. I was able to get this photo. If you want to believe it, believe it. If you don't, you don't. But then again, I don't know.
I tell you what I would do. I would have a meeting with my closest friends I knew I could trust. I wouldn't put out whether anybody have a copy. I'd have a meeting, a breakfast or something with all my closest friends in the general area, show them the picture, and say, this is what I've got. And you know what? And that's it. I got the only picture.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you, I'm to the point now where...
Actually, I saw your post where you talking about getting off Facebook altogether.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I was going to ask you about that.
I've thought about it, guys, and I've had so much feedback from it. I mean, I've had you all, and I've had probably 60 more people sending me messages like, "Hey, man, you gotta stay on, run your page and stuff, and this and that." And I'm not going to do it, but if you all have noticed the Kentucky Sasquatch team, I've kind of fallen back a little bit because I'm not been putting out many reports, and I'm getting them, and my team is filing them, and going and investigating them, but I'm not putting out a whole lot right now because of the turmoil and ridicule and just constant bitching from the Bigfoot community. And I don't know about you all, but apparently out at Beachfoot, I was the topic of one particular conversation about the international conference, and because I dropped out of it, I was one of the organizers for it back in October when we decided to do it, and I finally just dropped out of it. It wasn't because of Ed Brown or anybody. It was because of someone else. But I just didn't. This particular person tells me, well, some of the stuff you put out, I've got a reputation. I'm like, hey, man, your reputation went out the window the very moment you said you believed in Bigfoot.
Yep.
Welcome to the world of crazy, because to the rest of the world, you're fucking nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And
now, it's funny that you say that, because, when I'm out doing my thing, and I meet new people, I mean, believe it or not, I'm finding more and more people are willing to accept it, regardless if they're skeptics or whatever. And, when I'm out there, and I get to talking to people, I have a certain way I conduct myself and I present myself to people. And, I don't get I know I can name somebody right off the bat, who will meet you from, not know you from Adam and say, hey, yeah, I'm out here looking for Bigfoot, yeah, and he'll start saying a lot of, bizarre stuff. I was like, I'll go ahead and mention his name, because I've been out with him plenty of times. And Mr. Fred Canny, don't get me wrong, me and him had our differences and everything, but, don't get me wrong, in general, he's not a bad guy, but, we see things a lot different. I see things a lot more logical. But I've been in situations where, we've been coming around meeting new people when we're out there. And, it's been a few embarrassing moments on my part. It's like, you don't tell a total stranger or a non-believer that, yeah, we just had 2 Sasquatches run by us and a juvenile with throwing rocks, something like that. I was like, you can't just come out and straight be blunt about it like that. You got to present, work and build your way up to it, I mean,
well,
and then...
Daniel, you know as well as I do. You and I discussed this on Facebook a while back, and correct me if I'm wrong. I said I don't want any part of any kind of feud that's going on. I don't care who thinks they're right and who thinks they're wrong. I'm your friend. I'm Fred's friend. I'm Shaky's friend. I'm everybody's friend in this. I'm not going to get in the middle of anybody's bickering and bitching. But I will agree with you. Fred is one of those guys, and I like Freddie. Freddie's a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and he has enlightened me on a few things. I've sent him a few pictures of some things, and he's enlightened me on it. And but he's one of those guys. When you go out in the woods with him, everything you encounter is a Bigfoot.
Right.
And I've got one of my best friends, and I consider him a part of my family. If he needed me right now, I would go and get on a plane and fly to Montana. I love him to death, but Brian Sullivan's the same way.
Yeah.
Brian, everything you see in the woods, a Bigfoot done it. You come up on a stop sign in the middle of a park, by God, Bigfoot put that fucking stop sign there.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Love him to death, but everything you see in the woods is not a Bigfoot.
Yeah. I mean, now, I don't know. I try to look at it in other people's point of view, but there was a video I did on one of my on my YouTube channel. I have a series of webcast uploads I've done, presenting and putting out different things. And I took one of Fred's videos, I used it in my webcast, and I did some editing to it where I had pop-ups during it. And, Steve, he's familiar with it. And I guess they took that as me, me trashing him. No, what it was in the video, he was pointing out every tree break and tree bend, Sasquatch did this. This was a directional. It means, Sasquatch did this. Every bent tree, he was getting carried away with it. And then, he threw my name in there. So that's what made me say, okay, well, I'm going to point out some things. I was using it to make a point. Yeah, I kind of made fun of him a little bit in it. But, and maybe I was a little harsh about it. But I did it for educational purpose, to be honest with you. I wasn't trying to, he was trying to make me look bad by saying, saying I'm talking about facts and everything. That there is no facts in people. And get this, people take a lot of what I say, and they twist it. And I've said it repeatedly over and over in almost everything I present. There, the facts I do present are usually related to known wildlife. I never state any blunt claims about Bigfoot, Now, there's a few things in the past I have been in error for, but I've turned around and I'm trying to be more logical about things, and I do try to, I'm trying to correct myself, and as I'm correcting myself, I'm sharing it with people too. And so, they're calling me they're trying to make me look like I'm saying I'm an expert. I'm not. I'm by no means am I claiming to be an expert because I'm far from any expert in any whatever. But when it comes to wildlife, I study and I observe a lot of wildlife and I see what they do and bears are very common. I relate bears to Sasquatch in a very in a particular way because for one thing their behaviors are common. They both break and bend trees, stuff like that. But yeah, in the video, maybe like I said, I was probably a little harsh on the way I came up about, and I had a little pop-up showing up in his video that I used in my webcast upload. So,
well, you take somebody like Fred and you take somebody like Brian, take somebody like Connie Fox. Okay,
yeah.
If I was recently, and everybody's seen it, I was recently the subject of Off the Richter.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, and if Richter's a friend of mine, I love him to death.
Right.
He's a great guy. I'm going out to Vegas in a few weeks. I'm going to have dinner with him, and we're going to sit, and I'm going to bitch at him for making me out to be a fucking liar and all that. But did I take
thought it was
it
funny
serious?
that he showed you with makeup on your face.
Exactly. I lost a bet, and I got my ex-girlfriend. She put makeup on me. I think I made a fucking hot-ass drag queen, but that's besides the point.
Hey, don't feel bad. My ex-wife, when I was married, my ex-wife did. It was me, my ex-wife, and sister-in-law. We all shared our apartment together, and they were bored one day. We went to a weekend. I let them have their way. They put makeup on me, and I was able to squeeze in a dress. I was one ugly drag queen. That was many years ago.
Yeah. Well, he uses that, and then he used the footage from Montana at that conference, and he said, "Oh, you're a liar, Michael Cook. You're a liar. You didn't see Bigfoot. You've never been on this. You've never been on that." Well, the thing is, everybody knows I have. That know. They've seen the Monster Quest. They've seen the National Geographic things and all that. They know that I've worked very fucking hard, by the way, to make my name in the Bigfoot community. I've done it on my own. My team has backed me, but I'm the face of the Kentucky Sasquatch team. And Richter called me a week before, and he was like, "Hey, Michael, I'm going to put you on Off the Richter, so don't get mad, Kay." I was like, "Whatever, fag. Whatever you want to do."
Oh, man.
And
I know he got Rio in there too.
Oh man, he said he was his brother or something like that. But that's like Ed Brown, man. I mean, Ed and I, we butted heads a few times over some stuff. We got out of Montana. We flew out there to that conference and stuff, and where he emceed and I was the keynote speaker and stuff. We went out squatching with Brian and to check his place out that he found a skeleton in a tree or whatever, and it wasn't in a tree and it was on the ground and this and that. But I found a clear tree break, and it was a twisted break, something with hands. I mean, it twisted this tree around and broke it. Up the hill was another one. Up the hill from that was another one. All of them pointed in the same direction, and I sat right there. I was like, "This is a tree break," and Ed's like, "No, now, this is snow breaker, something like that." We butted heads. You know what? We came back home together. We talk every other day. We don't let nothing like that get between us and what we believe in and our friendship. And as far as Brian is, like I said, Brian, Fred, Connie, great people. Everything you encounter is not a Bigfoot.
Right. Well, before we get, even though we're already off air, this will end abruptly. But one thing is funny. This is one thing I don't get. Is, all right, I watched some of when Fred went down to Kentucky to meet up with Connie. I guess it's been almost a month ago by now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But one of the things, Fred's got this new little mini camera. I guess when they went out exploring, he left the camera on a table or something at the camp. And
Discover your new favorite grocery store today, because a brand new Walmart Neighborhood Market is now open near you. You'll find low prices you can trust every day on the groceries your family needs most, like fresh produce, quality meats, and more. Plus, save on prescriptions in our pharmacy. Walmart Neighborhood Market makes it convenient to get everything on your grocery list.
Come meet your friendly new neighbors today at the brand new Walmart Neighborhood Market on the corner of Ohio Street and New Hope Road in Waynesboro.
Save money, live better, Walmart. Discover your new favorite grocery store today, because a brand new Walmart Neighborhood Market is now open near you. You'll find low prices you can trust every day on the groceries your family needs most, like fresh produce, quality meats, and more. Plus, save on prescriptions in our pharmacy. Walmart Neighborhood Market makes it convenient to get everything on your grocery list.
Come meet your friendly new neighbors today at the brand new Walmart Neighborhood Market on the corner of Ohio Street and New Hope Road in Waynesboro.
Save money, live better, Walmart.